What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Slow Restoration, and it's a beautiful day out, and unfortunately the Camaro is filthy dirty. So to get the day started off, we have a lot to get done, but to get the day started off, we're gonna get this thing washed up and cleaned up. That car is actually filthy dirty, but that color hides dirt extremely well. Even when it's dirty, it still shines. Let's get it cleaned up and make that paint really shine. Alright guys, we got it all shined up. Don't mind the rusty brake caliper rotors, they'll clean right up as soon as we move it. Much needed wash. You can see how much more this thing shines now. We're back to work on the Xtreme S10 engine swap. We have our new used motor here, and the best way to clean the head surfaces off where the intake goes is lay a rag in here, kind of tuck it up underneath the head, scrape everything down so all this stuff falls down in the lifter valley. It's a good idea. I didn't do it here, as you can see, but stuff some rags in the intake ports. I'm going to take compressed air and blow out these ports. Excuse me, these ports were actually very gunky for some reason on this motor. So what I did is I'm actually going to clean these ports out a little bit too, so I wasn't so concerned. I'm going to have to blow through there and clean all that out anyway. But a lot of times when these intake gaskets go, shortly thereafter they spin a rod bearing, and a lot of times it's attributed to or contributed to when you clean these. A lot of guys will take the abrasive pads and it puts a lot of debris down in the motor. So after you get it done, always kind of flush down through in case you did get anything, and do an oil change right away. And then you should do one shortly thereafter in case you got any more debris down in the motor. But those abrasive pads put out a lot of grit, and it gets down in here, and it'll take the bearings right out of these motors. They seem to be kind of susceptible to rod bearing failure. So unfortunately, actually the one we're working on that came out of this truck had rod bearing failure, and I can definitely tell. Here's the intake that came off that motor that we're actually going to reuse, and you can definitely see someone took a abrasive pad over this intake. So I'm assuming they probably did on those heads too. Is that the sole reason it failed? I'm not sure, but I've seen it many times. Shortly after doing an intake job, they will have a rod bearing failure. As you can see, we just pulled our rag out of the intake valley, and everything is very clean. We'll touch it up a little bit more, but definitely a good way of keeping all that debris out of the inside of the motor, really, and the lifter valley there. We have our new intake gaskets here. They obviously only go on one way because there's two ports here, one port here, and there's little tabs that stick down that go into the head to locate them. So kind of foolproof as far as that goes. And we'll get that on there. We do have to run a bead of silicone on the front valley and then in the rear also. And we'll extend that up just a little bit, tie into that gasket. No need to go crazy with sealer here. Whoever did this before put it around every inch of it, and it was just way too much, and it was squished and gushed out everywhere. So we still do have to drill and tap this hole. It seems like the I'm gonna double check it, but it seems like the older knock sensor is a 1/4 inch MPT tap. So we're gonna get one and mock it up, make sure those thread sizes are same thread pitch. We do have to run out and get a tap so we can finish drilling this, because it's a lot easier to drill without the intake on. But for right now, I don't really want to leave because we're expecting a delivery today. And it's kind of a, we'll see when it comes in. We'll open it up and check it out, but it may be another addition we're going to add to the shop. It's not a vehicle or anything like that, but just kind of a service and something I've been wanting to get into for a while. So hopefully that comes real soon and we can run out and get this tap and get this finished up, get this motor sealed up and get it back in the truck. All right guys, our delivery came. It's a lot smaller package than I thought it was going to be, but some of you might already be able to tell what it is. But let's get this opened up and get it checked out. And I'm pretty excited about this. Got the lid popped off. Let's pull these out. All right, there they are. We got some wrap samples. As you can see, that one I think is really close to Krypton green. We got some really cool other colors in there. Let's get these spread out and check them out. We got our samples from Metro Restyling, I think it is. Metro Restyling pulled out. And this is definitely why you get samples of wrap. Looking on their website and looking at the pictures they supply of cars that were done and the little turntable of the color, I thought these two colors were going to be real close to the Krypton green, or at least one of them, and they are way off. This one is probably closer than this one. This one's almost like a teal-y color. I guess either one of them could be cool on something. This is definitely bright. This I'm just not real crazy about. Whoops. This is a 3M wrap. I'm just not crazy about that one. This one could be cool. This is more of a John Deere green. This is more of a pea green. So a little disappointed in the greens, just that, but like I said, that's why you get samples. You got to have real life, hands-on, see how they look laying on a vehicle. All right, real quick out here in the sunlight before the wind takes them all away. This is definitely a cool one. There went one. I do like this one. These are kind of straight oranges. Again, this one is really cool. There's a lot of metallics and micas and different colors in that one. The pearl whites here. This one's a little bit milder. This has definitely got more. And our greens are just, like I said, not exactly what I was thinking when I got them. This is definitely bright here. This is my favorite green. It's just not my favorite green out of the sample is just not my favorite green. This one is just too, I don't know, too green maybe. You really gotta kind of get behind these to see the effect. Enough of that. Wrap projects coming soon, but let's get back on this. Let's find that tap and get going back on this. We found our tap. It is in fact a quarter 18 MPT. So for the motor up here, good with the drop cloth, keep shavings out. We drilled and then tapped the MPT, and as you can see, this screws in nicely. So we'll get that tightened up, and that actually worked pretty good. Got our intake gaskets laid down on there. We overlapped a little bit up on the head, put our gaskets on, went across the valley ends here, and put a little bit more on top of the gasket. Like I said, we didn't go crazy. That should be plenty enough. We should be able to see that just slightly squish out as we bolt that intake down. So let's drop the intake on, get it torqued down. All right guys, as you can see, we got the motor all back together, at least far enough to drop it back in the truck. It's on the engine hoist, intakes on, valve cover gaskets and everything are on. Flywheels on and torqued down. Probably gonna put the spark plugs back in before we drop it in and put the wires on. Other than that, it will be ready to drop back in the truck. We unfortunately just kind of ran out of time today. So tomorrow morning, that's going to be our project. Get that thing dropped in dropped in the truck. We do have the Ford 6-liter Power Stroke sitting outside. The guy dropped it off. We have his parts sitting here. There's his tuner, his exhaust, and air intake. So hopefully we can get this dropped back in the truck, get the trans back in, kind of get it all buttoned up, get this thing out and get his truck in and get that taken care of. If not, maybe we'll push it off a day or two, but definitely need to get this in and try and get this truck out of here. So thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.